I'm Chizzy, and I am the attorney for Inbox Buildings. And what that means is I handle all of their legal and contract work. And today we're just going to have a quick video answering your legal questions about building a tiny home. So the biggest question that we get, and the first disclaimer is this is not legal advice. This is for information and resource purposes. I am a Texas state licensed attorney, but I am not your attorney. So for any specific questions, please make sure to contact your local attorney. They'll have the best answers for your situation. So the first question that we get all the time is, where can I put my tiny home? And I'm going to give you the perfect lawyer answer, which is it depends. Depending on where you live, your city, your state, municipality, they all have different zoning rules. So what you would have to do is figure out what municipality, what county, and how is that area zoned. If it's unrestricted zoning, you're usually okay, but there are even some areas of unrestricted where they still require you not to have someone living in an RV or manufactured home for a certain period of time. There's some areas where they will allow you to rent it out for a certain period of days, but then it has to be removed from the property. So you really have to look at where you're planning to put your tiny home and contact your local officials and get the answer to make sure that everything's going to be in compliance. Another question we get often is about the down payment for a new build. So when you're building a new tiny home, a lot of builders will require 50% down to start the project. And a lot of tiny home buyers are concerned about losing any of that money. How can they make sure that they can trust, this company, and they're giving so much upfront? So it's very common for a tiny home builder to require 50% down. But what you can do to feel more comfortable is to look at different things in the contract and check out the tiny home builder to make sure that they're reputable. So in the contract, the things you should be looking for are: one, the product description. Make sure that you're in agreement with everything in that contract about your particular build. Another thing you want to look for is the payment terms. So there usually should be a schedule of when you should put down the 50% or however much the down payment is, when the next amount will be done, and what work will be done with that amount that you're putting on. So you can know, okay, I'm paying this and this is how much progress should happen on my tiny home. Another thing that you should also look into is the warranty. How much is going to be warranted? Are they going to warranty it for a year? What's going to be covered under that warranty? You can also look into delivery. How are you going to get your tiny home? If it's not built on slab, are they covering delivery? Is there an extra charge for delivery? And who's insuring the tiny home as it's being delivered? So those are things you want to look into in your contract. And finally, look into the dispute resolution clause. And what that is, in a lot of contracts, they will state that if there's ever an issue, this is how we handle that issue and what law will govern that issue. So we're based in Texas. So our contracts state that the law of Texas will govern any disputes. And the contract might also talk about whether or not you have to go to mediation first, whether or not you have to do arbitration, things like that. So those are things you should be looking for in any of your new construction contracts. Another question we get is, how tall and wide can I build my tiny home? So this also depends. If your tiny home is on slab, you have to again check with the municipality, sometimes even the community, because there might be an HOA that oversees how tall things are. There might be certain engineering requirements or restrictions. So you have to go back again and check with your local municipality about how tall and how wide you can build. If it's on wheels, however, it's considered an RV, and that is controlled by the Department of Transportation. And they require that things that are on wheels cannot be taller than 13 feet tall and 6 inches or wider than 8 feet and 6 inches. So if you're going to put it on wheels, which means it's going to be on a public road, you have to make sure that you keep it between 13 and a half feet tall and 8.5 feet wide. So that probably brings you to the question, slab or wheels? And it all depends on what you're looking for. So the pros and cons of slab versus wheels we'll actually talk about in another video, so make sure that you're subscribed and like. But I can briefly say that if it's on slabs, you're definitely going to need a little bit more. You're going to have engineering and permitting things that you won't need on wheels. There's also going to be more design, and it's going to take a bit longer if it's on slab. On wheels, it's a lot quicker. You also don't need to get the permitting and engineering things that you need for slab. and also their tax benefits to having your tiny home on wheels. And we'll talk about that and how it can save you money in a future video. We want to do more of these videos. We're hoping that it's very helpful for you, so send us your questions. If there's a specific thing that you're concerned about, if you have specific questions, we are the builders, we would know. So go ahead and send us your questions at info@inboxbuildings.com. That's info@inboxbuildings.com. It'll be here or here, it'll be somewhere. Send it to us. Don't forget, we're also on Instagram at INBOXBUILDINGS Instagram, and follow, like. We hope to see you soon. Bye.